Hey guys, welcome to my Pyraminx tutorial video. In this video I'll explain you how I solve the Pyraminx. It's not really a beginner's method, but still I think if you know only a little bit about speed cubing you should be able to understand this method, because it's not really hard. Pyraminx is actually one of the easier puzzles there is, and I think it's much easier than the normal Rubik's Cube too. So the name of my method is probably called the keyhole method. I'll explain to you why later. It's first, I think, very good to realize that there are three types of pieces on a Pyraminx. So you've got the edges. It's got two stickers on it, as you can see, and the edges are all attached between centers. This is a center piece. A center piece got three colors. In this case, it has yellow, it got blue, and it's got green. And every center has one tip attached to it. Every tip can always be solved in just one move. So in this case, it's just like juk, and it's solved. You can also have this, then you have to put it the other way, and of course sometimes it's already solved. There are only three possibilities for a tip, so tips are just like, I don't know, bonus fun or something like that. So let's put it back together. Hopefully I'll put it back together in the correct order, because I don't really know which way it should be. So just the outline of the method, I'll just show a very slow solve to see what the steps are. I will start with just one center. So example, I start now with the red, blue, yellow center, because I already see one of the edge pieces being attached to the center. So I think, hey, nice, that's bonus. So I will start by solving the tip of it. This is of course very easy, everybody can do this. Just one move. And then the next step is to find one of the other three pieces that can be attached to the center. So in this case, the center is red, blue, yellow. So we've got the pieces of red, blue, which is already solved, the yellow, blue, or the red, yellow piece, which is over here. So these pieces can all be attached to this center. So we have to now choose either the yellow blue or the yellow red one, because we already solved it, because that was lucky. So yeah, I'll just solve the red yellow one. So this is the first step. We made the block plus the tip. Now you see that the main color here is red, so we'll finish with the red layer. So you'll just locate the other two centers which have red on it. Just take this one to the left. And now you see that this tip has, this center has red on it, and this center also has red on it, as you can see. So now I'll just, make the tip plus move it to the correct side. And the result is that we have a layer with three tips correct, and two pieces already solved. After this, I'll just flip it. I'll just solve the top tip, which is the last tip. Then I'll solve the piece here on the back. It's quite easy to solve, mostly it's like three moves. So in this case, this piece has to go here. I will show you really an extensive explanation of this later, of course. And then for the last three pieces, which is always these three on the front, there's an easy algorithm. So in this case, it's just like, and solve. So those are the steps of my method. And now, of course, I'll show a more detailed explanation of what to do. So, I'll just show a better example. Normally, if you scramble a Pyraminx, the chance is very high that you already have one piece attached to one of the centers, as we have here. So in this case, the green-yellow piece is already attached to one of the centers. So I'll probably use my inspection time to find one of the other pieces and attach it to the center, plus, already move the tip, so just start with the tip. And now we can either use this piece, the yellow-blue piece, or the other piece here, it's the blue-green piece. Yeah, green piece, ha ha ha. Anyway, so I think in this case it's easiest to solve this piece. You can solve it in two moves. This is just a little bit puzzling. If you don't really see how to do this yet, instantly you just play around with the cube. You will, well, it's not really a cube, with the puzzle, and then you'll really get the hang of it, because it's really not easy, really not hard. So for example, if I would want to solve this piece instead of this piece. So this piece is now flipped. You just, for example, you would just take it out. Now you see that we got this matching pattern again, so you can move it once to the side and then it fits next to it. I think another case you could have is, for example, if we already have this and we want to solve this piece, which is the green yellow piece, and the green yellow piece has to go to the back in this case. So you can just move it down, move this layer once, and then you can move it up again, and then you already solved it. So that's the first step. It's not really hard. Just puzzle around a bit, 3, 4, 5 moves you can use for it. If you're just a beginner, it's no problem. You can just use 10 moves, I don't know. And the purpose of this is just to do it very fast and plan it in inspection. So in this case, the first step is finished, and our main color here is yellow. Semi-colors are like green and blue, but we got 2 pieces with yellow. So this means that we will have yellow as our layer color. So what I'll do now is I'll take this block, I'll just take it in my left hand, and I'll just make sure that I'll just don't do moves which my left hand would block. This means that I will not mess up my block here. So this means I can just move this, because here you got like a center with 2 of the pieces solved, but one isn't. So you can just use this as a keyhole. That's why it's called the keyhole method, to get the other centers, because you can just use moves like this and moves like this. So it's like these R moves and these U moves to do anything you want, but the block will stay the same. So in this case, as I said, the yellow is our color for our layer. So we will just check for the other color, for the other 3 centers, and only one of them doesn't have yellow. This one doesn't have yellow because it's green, red, and blue, so we don't use this one. But this one, for example, you can see that the tip is already solved, so that's a little bit lucky. And you know that here's the yellow, so the yellow should actually be on this face, because this one is also yellow. So we start by orienting this center. So yellow is already here, and we could do this because this was the keyhole piece. So now, next center, first line up the tip, and then move the yellow towards this. It's always one move. After this, we're almost done actually, because we just have this block and we just match it to this, and then we made like a whole layer, including the tips, besides one of the pieces. After this, I just flip the puzzle like this, so we got one slot here on the front, which is not solved yet. After this step, I'll just make the last tip and orient the center so that it is here blue, red, red, green, green. Okay, now there's only 2 minor steps left. First step is, well, there's actually a few methods you can do here. You could, for example, now just solve the last piece of the layer, and you just have one of the last layers, like those last steps, which you just have these 3 pieces left to solve. But as I think it's a little bit faster, I solve first the piece here on the back, and then we will be left with these 3 pieces unsolved. So the piece on the back is quite easy to solve. This piece has to go there, because here is green, blue. This is a green, blue piece, so it has to go here. You can always do this step in like 4 moves or something like this. So in this case, I'll just move it to the back. Move this like this, so this can fit back to it. And do this back. This is just a very easy speed queuing example. So if you're just like, a little bit about speed queuing, then stuff like this is very easy to see. Of course, if this piece would be flipped, that's maybe a good thing to show you also. I'll just flip it. So if this piece would be flipped, and you would need to put it here, then you first move this layer, and now to move this to here, you just do the piece where it has to go to. So this piece, you can put it down, and you put this one down, so this one can go up again, and this one can go up again. Now you solve this piece, and you just have to move this layer, and then we will be left with these 3 pieces unsolved. So that's another example. For instance, when the piece that you need for this place is actually in the slot. It's quite easy too. In this case, you know, you can just move this layer. So this would be next to it. Of course, if you would move it the other direction, you see that it would be here, but the wrong way around, so flipped. So I'll just move this. So this fits next to it. Back, back. So this is also in total 4 moves. Now the last step is very easy. There are only a few algorithms that you have to learn. And you know, most of the algorithms are only like 4 moves. I think there are 4 cases. So this is the easy case, one of the easier cases, which has 4 moves. You see that the last piece that we need for this spot, I always look at which piece has to go here. That's the easiest, I think. You see that this piece has to go here. Well, here actually. This sticker has to go here. And this piece is like not matching, so that's the only thing you need. So you just move this like here, so you can move this up. So this one can go back. It's almost like solving a you know, if you would have this pair for a cube, and you would have to put it here, and you just move it like, yeah, just solve that like that. Then there's another case. This is like the sledgehammer case. So if you would want to solve the pair like this, so put it down like that, back to back. There's also a well-known trick, of course, at the cube. It's almost the same. So you recognize this by, you know, again, this piece has to go down, but this time this is matching. So you know, at our previous example, you know, this piece had to go down, but this one was not matching. So here's our piece to solve, and this is not matching. So this is the sledgehammer case. So the piece has to go here, and this one is like matching with this. So you move this one down, so you put this in the correct position. Then you move this left one down, right one up, left one up. You can do this very fast actually, because you see you don't really have to let go of the puzzle. So this is like, it's not even half a second, I think, if you do it fast. But of course I'm not really good at Pyraminx, but I think Bruno or other, you know, they can do like nothing basically. So these were the 2 easy cases. Then there are 2 other cases left. For example, if you have 2 flipped pieces, these pieces can be these 2, but it can also be these 2. So for example, if it would be these 2 pieces, then you just of course flip the puzzle and you do the same algorithm. So I'll just I'll show you the algorithm for this. It's not really an algorithm. First you would do the sledgehammer case that I showed you before. So it's down, down, up, up, and then you actually see that we got the case that I showed you in the first example, where you have this block. Well, this piece has to go here, and this piece is not matching. So it's just like tuck, 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 which is no, that's not the right one. So that would be like this case where you first have to move it away and then put it in. So yeah, flip piece, again, down, down, up, up, sledgehammer, and then just insert it. Then there is one other case, which is this recycle case. This is like a pure 3 cycle. This piece has to go here, this piece has to go here, this piece has to go here. And this case is a little bit different than the other 3 cases. You could see that the other cases were built up of like inserting something or sledgehammering it, or a combination of both. This is almost the same. First you look which piece has to go down again. So again, the yellow red piece, which I just showed you at the other examples too, which is here. And the first thing that you have to do is, you know, this is down face is the yellow sticker. So you would first move the U layer so that you see that sticker. Then you actually move it away. And now you have the sledgehammer case. So I would like to do, you know, you can you could do it like this, because you know R2 minus, it's the same as R, but you know, for finger trick's sake, I think it's better. So this is actually the other way around the 3 cycle, maybe a good thing to show you, because this is I think the most complicated case. I will write the algorithms down, of course, in the description. So you look down, you see the algorithms down. So this is the other case. Now we have the piece that we need for the bottom is on the right. So again, you move it that you can, the yellow is facing you. So you would do like, yeah, just do something like that. And then you've got the Sledgehammer paste. Yeah, now we got the other case again. So, tuck, 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 tuck. So the you know, this, and then the next step cancels the move, you know, because you're like, I'm sure you saw it, because you're good, right? You guys are all good. You understand what I say. So that's Pyraminx. Alright, I'll just start with a few demonstration solves. First, scrambling with Pyraminx. I think it's very nice if you scramble for yourself that you always do 4 tips, so you're used to solving many tips. And then in competition, sometimes it's like, hey, only 2 tips, or hey, only 1 tip. So you always do better than expected. That's nice. So your expectations are like this, and then competition, hey, it's only 1 tip, so your time will be like this, and you know, it's not sure if you saw that, whatever. Okay. Starting with, yeah, so I think I'll start with this tip, because I can solve this piece in one go. There's 1, and the other piece is on the back, so it's 2, and solve the tip. So yeah, that were 3 moves for 1 block. That's not really exceptionally short. I think it's quite normal. Yellow, so I just look for the other yellows. Yellow is here, and another yellow one is on this center. So this center is already correct, just solve the tip. And now use the keyhole point, you know, this was keyhole point. So I can solve this center and fix the layer. Restore centers, you know. Last piece is here. So tuck, tuck, tuck. And we got the easy insertion case with this one. So you actually saw that I solved the last tip at the end. Sometimes it's really nice, especially if you have the insertion cases like this, if you solve the tip at the end, because at the last move you do, you already hold the tip in your hand, so you can just, you know, it's one motion. You don't really have to inspect it, because you just inspect which way the tip has to go during your algorithm or whatever, and you just solve the last piece at the same time as you drop the puzzle to stop the timer. So yeah, if you just have this piece, now you can just do like at the same time as you know. Just don't slam it too hard, because you know, otherwise the timer may break. But yeah, you can solve the last tip at any time you want. Okay, another example solve. Again, I scrambled 4 tips, and now we have one of the pieces already attached to the center. That's nice. And the other piece can be solved in only 1 move, so 1 and the tip. So 2 move for the block. That's nice. Block is green. Here's green, here's green. So keyhole is here, so I'll just start with this center. Doesn't really matter if you start with the top center or the bottom center. You can just do both. Move the keyhole. Got the got the layer. Fix the centers. Now for the experts of you, you know, you can I know you could just solve this in one go. I can show you, but you know this is not really an expert method explanation. So I'll just solve the back piece, and the last one is Sledgehammer. Yeah, I just somehow like to do the last tip at the end. So it's really the last tip. Haha. Lame. Anyway, another example solve. So I will just start with the top tip, and this piece can go here in 2 moves. So it's like 1, 2. And I also saw that this piece has the same pattern as this piece. So by solving this one, you actually move this down, so you can solve this one. Yeah, now we actually accidentally solved all the tips of the top layer, but you know you cannot really take advantage of this because now your space of movement for the rest is like 0. So you could only do this without destroying the whole tip. So don't do this. So just ignore this piece. Make your center. Make your center. Fix your center. And now we got the back piece case again. The back piece is flipped. I got a little trick, because if you have the back piece flipped and you want to, you know, it takes lots of moves to flip it. So I just solved the piece on the bottom. Trick, trick, trick. And bam. You get 2 flips always after it. It's nice. Some explanation solves always nice. But boring. So stop watching if you're bored. I would. Okay. 1, 2, yellow, 1 center, 2 center. Oh, now we actually, you see, we skipped the last part. The last piece is already solved for the first layer, and now we just have a 2 flip left, which is, you know, lucky. Done. Okay, well, I'll just do a few faster solves for you guys who are just like bored by my slowness. You know, tip, tip, up, last piece, last part, done. No, that's too lucky. The whole block was already solved. Sometimes happens. Fail. Alright, now the block is 1 move. Nice. Oops. You know, tips are hard because you always move them in the wrong direction. So if you see this, like, oh, and you always +2 because of this. It's stupid, you know? That's why I hate tips. Everybody hates tips. Even though they're easy, they're like the hardest, because you always do it wrong. At least I am. Maybe I'm just stupid, you know? Anyway, Pyraminx. Solve it, have fun with it. If you don't have fun with it, just throw it away, you know? Doesn't matter. I don't care, it's not my Pyraminx. You can just throw it away. Alright? Bye, guys.